From our studios in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, it's the Longwood Rotary Club Home Edition on Thursday, June 11th, 2020. Normally meeting at the beautiful, world-famous Longwood Botanical Gardens. Guest presenters today are Dave Foresman, Barry Kanofsky, Mike Hughes, and Jordan Gushurst, plus our special guest presenter, Ellen Ferretti, Director of the Brandywine Conservancy. Please welcome our greeter for today, Dave Foresman.
Rotarians! Now, as proud Americans, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Longwood Rotarians, and welcome to our live online meeting for today, Thursday, June 11th, 2020. Another packed meeting agenda for today, and we're going to get started off right now with our thought of the day with Mr. Mike Hughes.
Good morning, everybody. Thought of the day. I came across this just a couple days ago. The thought is, always pray to have eyes that see the best, a heart that forgives the worst, a mind that forgets the bad, and a soul that never loses faith. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, for that thought of the day. Now we're going to go right to our member spotlight, and this week it's Mr. Jordan Gushurst. Jordan.
Good morning, everybody. I am Jordan Gushurst. I have wife and 3 kids. So my children right now, my oldest is 15. She just finished freshman year at Unionville High School. And then my middle child is 13. And my youngest is 11, just graduated 5th grade from Copson Elementary. And it was kind of a bittersweet day yesterday. They were all sort of a little upset that they didn't quite get the end of school that you would want. Normally there's all kinds of fun stuff that happens. So in any case, I am also pleased, like Sandville said, to be sort of done with school. But my wife is Dr. Cassidy, who is serving Chester County right now as the public health physician. She has been very dedicated. It's also been a tremendous amount of work for her. She had what was a part-time job of about 20 hours a week, has now become a full-time plus overtime, maybe not quite as much overtime now as it used to be, but managing the county's response to COVID. So I am doing all kinds of things that I took for granted before, and helping out with all the grocery shopping and all the laundry and a lot of cooking. And I can now appreciate it quite well when my wife says she's tired of cooking, because I'm totally tired of cooking. Mm-hmm. What else? So I was doing work from home before work from home was cool. So I have been working, I've been self-employed since 1999. And I work as a consultant in the energy industry. When I first started, I got a degree in mechanical engineering and finance, and I worked for Deloitte Consulting for about just over 3 years. And after that, I have worked for myself. I used to travel quite a bit every week, and then transitioned into jobs where I could work from home. And I've been doing that for quite some time. It's a highly recommended way of raising children. Not having to travel, but still being able to engage in meaningful work. So what else? Oh, so in the energy industry, specifically, what does that mean? Natural gas and liquefied natural gas. Those are major commodities. And I don't work on the retail side, I work on the wholesale side, which is the production, transportation, storage, invoicing, risk management, credit management, accounting, all of the logistics associated with those commodities. So what else? I've been a Longwood Rotarian for, I don't know, at least a dozen years since George Gower was president, and I've worked on a number of different projects, the Backpack Project being the most widely known, and I have transitioned that to a new group of members this year, and I have been doing work on transportation-related issues. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. Much appreciated. Now, we've all wondered what people do when they have a stay-at-home order, and so one of our members, Mr. John Sandville, took a video of his stay-at-home, and we're going to share that with you right now.
All right, here we go. Another day on Zoom. Zoom. Hey, Deb, what was the meeting ID number again? Oh, what is that? Oh, and a password too? What? Come on. Oh, all right, there it is. Okay. All right. There. Hey, everybody. How you doing? No, I'm never better. Hey, did somebody open the oven? Hey, Dad, did somebody open this oven? We know from the British baking show you can't open the oven when you're making sourdough. It ruins the bake. Oh, no. This is only our 59th loaf. Well, I think... Oh, no, no, you go. No, you go. No, go ahead. No, me. Oh, no, you go. No. What do you think, Dad? The Office is on. You want to watch The Office? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. Hey, John Nolan, you're muted. We can't hear you. Unmute. John. Yeah, I'll be right there. It's almost halftime. Can't beat the Philly Super Bowl again. And we're right at halftime. It's a Philly special. Clement to Burton to Foles. Touchdown! E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles! What? Oh, no, everything's fine. Everything's okay. It's just it's another birthday party. Third time this week. Got the police and fire escort going by. Everything's blaring, but we're okay here. So, thanks for asking. Dad, there is nothing on. What do you think? You want to watch The Office again? Oh. Well, at least I don't need a haircut. Please transition to yellow. Please, let's go to yellow.
All right, today is the day Pennsylvanians have been waiting for. Philadelphia and the surrounding counties finally starting to lift coronavirus restrictions as the area starts the yellow phase of recovery, and the state's stay-at-home order is officially over.
Yes. It's time. Well, I know this was not the end of the school year that we were all expecting, but I just have to say to students, to staff, to families, to our community, I couldn't thank you more for what you've done. It's just been fantastic, and I send you all off on a well-deserved summer break. We are looking forward to seeing you in the fall, however that looks in the fall. But now it's actually time for me to get back to the office and prepare for what 2021 is going to look like. So I've got my mask, I've got my wipes, and we're ready to rock and roll. So have a great summer. Thanks for everything.
And thank you, John, for that video. I'm sure we could all make something very similar. And if you guys want to take the effort to do that, that would be great. John, appreciate you putting that together. Very, very entertaining. Now we're going to turn our meeting over to our Sergeant of Arms for this week, Mr. Barry Kanofsky. Barry, take it away.
All right. So a hero. A hero is a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. These days, fathers are heroes, mothers, teachers, police officers, most firefighters, doctors, people with illnesses, those who take care of aging parents, foster parents, adoptive parents, those who have dangerous occupations, and so on. True heroes serve others. True heroes are extraordinary. They do right when others do wrong. True heroes take risks and face potential loss. True heroes are self-sacrificing. That is, like Martin Luther King Jr. or Oskar Schindler, for examples. True heroes are courageous, act in spite of fear. And in my opinion, all Rotarians are heroes for the great work that we do for our communities throughout the world, and especially what is happening lately. Okay, so my 5-year-old grandson asked my daughter why she was talking to herself. And she told him it was a parent-teacher conference. So he said, Mommy, am I adopted? And she said, not yet, I haven't put the ad in the paper. So to all the seniors at Kennett High School and Unionville High School, homeschooling day 3, you all graduated, congratulations, #done. If you want to save money at Christmas, now's the time to tell the kids that Santa didn't make it through the pandemic. And to finish the year from here on out, light some firecrackers, have a barbecue, rake some leaves, sling some candy out the door, throw a turkey in the oven, unwrap a few presents, and call it a year. So I would like to introduce our speaker, Ellen Ferretti. Ellen is the director of the Brandywine Conservancy. She was named director in June 2016. She brings more than 30 years of natural resource management and conservation environmental experience serving as Secretary of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources and Deputy Secretary for Parks and Forestry for Pennsylvania. Ellen leads the Brandywine Conservancy's efforts to protect water, preserve land, and work with private landowners to see their lands protected forever. She provides innovative community planning and to give services to municipalities and other government agencies. Please welcome Ellen Ferretti. Thank you.
Morning. All right, good morning, everybody, and thank you very, very much for having me today. I am the director of the Brandywine Conservancy, which is, of course, part of the Brandywine Conservancy and Museum of Art. Our parent company or corporate entity is, of course, the Brandywine Conservancy and Museum of Art, and what you see here are the 3 mission statements for the 2 programmatic areas, the Brandywine Conservancy and the Brandywine River Museum of Art, and the parent. So for the Brandywine Conservancy, our mission is to protect and conserve the land, water, natural, and cultural resources of the Brandywine-Christina watershed. We do, in fact, do work outside of the Brandywine-Christina watershed. We have 2 preserves outside of the watershed, but this is our primary focus area and has been since inception. And when we do work outside, it's to bring our unique talents to the areas outside the watershed, and likewise, if there's a unique project outside the watershed where we can learn something and bring it in, we do that as well. So in the beginning, we were the Tri-County Conservancy of the Brandywine, Inc. We were founded in 1967, and the 3 counties were, in fact, Chester and Delaware counties in Pennsylvania and Newcastle County in Delaware. Now, that remains our focus area for conservation. We do hold easements in Lancaster County as well. In 1969, our first conservation easements protected 3.5 miles of the Brandywine Creek floodplain, including Potts Meadow. And you may know Potts Meadow is this very nondescript little quote unquote vacant parcel at the corner of Route 1 and Creek Road across from the barn shops. That in fact was planned to be, the story goes, a hard hat factory. And our founder, Frolic Weymouth and Andrew Wythe and several other people of note within the community felt that was the line in the sand. And they didn't want that developed, and they felt if it was, Chad's Ford would never be the same again. So they actually formed the Conservancy in order to have an entity to buy the property and ease it forever. And that's when we became what we are today. And in 1976, we changed the name to the Brandywine Conservancy. Potts Meadow is where you will see the large evergreen tree that's sometimes called Frolic's tree. At Christmas time, it's lit up. So we sort of put our mission into 3 buckets: protect, connect, and enjoy. And I personally love Teddy Roosevelt, so I put this quote in here. Of all the questions which can come before this nation, short of the actual preservation of its existence in a great war, there is none which compares in importance with the great central task of leaving this land even a better land for our descendants than it is for us. So I'm going to show a little slideshow here that brings you across the decades and shows the amount of protection that we have done. So you'll see Potts Meadow in the little part of the screen there, and the 3.5 acres I mentioned along Brandywine Creek. Some people call it Brandywine River. I do know that there's a question about that, and Jerry Coffin from the University of Delaware even did an analysis about creek versus river, but for our purposes, we'll call it creek. So here's movement in the 1970s. You can see a little bit more focus around the creek. In the 1980s, that large green tract you'll see is the King Ranch area. And then you'll see some activity in the Willistown area where that became one of our focus areas. Expansion in the King Ranch area, expansion along Brandywine Creek, and expansion in the Willistown area. The 2000s, again, in the same focal areas, you'll see a little bit more in Delaware. And the brown are easements assisted by Brandywine Conservancy that are agricultural easements. We have a high focus on agricultural, prime agricultural lands in order to keep farmers farming. And that is still a great focus for us today. So this is what our footprint looks like now. And the bottom right, you'll see a little, well, not so little, preserve in Westmoreland County. And I'm actually headed out there today, called Penguin Court. That was deeded to us by the estate of Richard Mellon Scaife. And it's a beautiful preserve right there in Laughlin Town, near Ligonier, Pennsylvania. So the Conservancy has been a catalyst for conservation since our inception. Our larger, more complex conservation projects have been groundbreaking, like the King Ranch, and elevated the profile of grand conservation efforts within the 3-county area. Talk a little bit here about the King Ranch. From 1984 to 1987, that the idea of how to form an entity to buy the land and then divvy up the land was quite groundbreaking for the time. And I hope many of you are familiar with the King Ranch in the Unionville area. It is one of the most beautiful visions that I've seen in my life. There are many landscapes that we all find beautiful, but when I hit that point on 82, when the land opens up, I actually find myself breathing a little bit easier. Beaver Valley was something we did when I first came here. It's next to the First State National Historic Park. Beaver Valley is in the Pennsylvania part of the park. Well, it's not yet part of the park, but that was one of our more recent conservation efforts. And we are still working on Glenroy, which is in Chester and Lancaster County, hoping to preserve several hundred acres, well, 952 acres there along the Octoraro. It's a magnificent stretch. Our preserves, Squarefield Preserve in the Willistown area. It's across from the Radnor Hunt Club, if those of you who are familiar with the area. Right now, we are working with the Willistown Conservation Trust to restore the interior woodland habitat. It was in farming. And the Laurels Preserve, for those of you, again, familiar with the Unionville area, Greater King Ranch area, That is one of our most beloved preserves, 2 covered bridges and beautiful walking trails. In the bottom left, you see some of our volunteers, likely Boy Scouts, helping us plant trees in the area. The Miller Farm was deeded to the Conservancy in 1992, and we are renting it to a young couple who have an organic farming operation, and they're doing quite well. So what you see there is all organic farming, and of course the lovely farmhouse in the bottom left. Waterloo Mills Preserve in the Devon area. We actually own the little village of Waterloo Mills, and we do a lot of outreach to the youth in the area. Again, planting. There's a lot of research happening at Waterloo Mills by several universities and local schools. And of course, Penguin Court in the Ligonier area. That's the conservatory that you will see in the upper right. What you see in the upper left is an aerial shot. Part of the story of this property, there was a magnificent mansion on the property. And I'm trying to see where you would, if you see what, you could see the pool imprint, which is no longer there, but near there was this magnificent mansion, but when Mr. Scaife's mother passed away, he dismantled it. So when you go to the top of the absolutely gorgeous hill and you look out, you know there should have been something there because it's a large flat area, but you're looking out over the Allegheny front, one of the most magnificent views in the mountains that you'll ever see out in the Laurel Highlands. And Birmingham Hill, for over 20 years, we've been conserving the area around Birmingham Hill and Birmingham Township. We've been putting easements on the highly, highly historic properties in that area. And the Roberta Odell property, many years ago, we bought, I think 100 acres there from Mrs. Odell, with the caveat that upon her passing, we could buy the remainder of the 13 acres. And that did occur in 2018. So this will become our first public preserve. It will be considered hallowed ground. It was one of the most active battles of the Brandywine. We will, of course, do archaeological research on the property. We are in the process of doing a master plan, but it will be of the deepest respect for what happened there. So the impact will be minimal. You will see quiet walking trails and some interpretive panels. At some point in time, we may repurpose the barn to be an educational center. But again, we consider this hallowed ground and will be developed accordingly. And for those of you who know Birmingham Hill, in your upper left corner, you'll see the grape hyacinths that are quite the feature for the local residents that come up every year. So some facts and figures about us. Since our inception, we've helped conserve almost 67,000 acres of land, and we hold almost 500 easements. An easement is it's a legal document that will go in perpetuity with the property, and it is either donated or given by the property owner. So the property owner continues to own the land. We will hold this legal easement on top of the land, and it is our duty to uphold the terms of the easement as set by the person who put the easement on the property. What that means is, if you were to preserve an easement today, put an easement on your property, and you say, I don't want anybody building anything else on this property but my house, we have to uphold the terms of that easement as people buy the property in perpetuity. It's an interesting, it sometimes gets interesting with landowners who did not put the easement on their property. In the last fiscal year, we assisted in the protection of 1,785 acres of land, conducted almost 900 stewardship property visits, which we have to do on each of our easements by our accreditation standards. We implemented 59 best management practices on ag lands, planted almost 3,000 trees, held 31 programs with over 2,000 participants. We hosted over 10,000 visitors at our preserves, and during COVID-19, we saw, as did everybody in this area, record numbers at our preserves. I can't even imagine what it would be this year. And assisted almost 40 municipalities with sound land use planning. Connect, another person I love very much, Dr. Seuss. One of our larger initiatives is the Delaware River Watershed Initiative, which is happening up and down the entire Delaware River watershed. It's a strategic initiative of the William Penn Foundation. Overall, $42 million in new funding will be invested in the Delaware River to accelerate progress. Our cluster, as they call them here, is the Brandywine Christina. And since 2014 to 2017, over $64 million was invested by the foundation to protect and restore, the entire basin, and about $42 million in this cluster here. It's a very active project. If any of you would like more information, it's got a lot of detail to it, which I don't want to go through this morning. Great coordinated project. We are partners with Stroudwater Research, Brandywine Red Clay, University of Delaware, and the Nature Conservancy and Natural Lands on that one. This year is the 10th anniversary of our Brandywine Creek Greenway, which is a coordinated planning effort up and down the Brandywine from the headwaters in Honeybrook all the way to Wilmington. The ultimate vision will be a system of connected land trails and hopefully a water trail with public parks along the way. And we actually created a Brandywine Creek Greenway app to direct you to all those public areas that you can go to. So I hope you can download the app whenever you'd like, and it is free. And some stats on the Greenway. In my experience, this partnership is very unique because of the municipal cooperation up and down the Greenway. We now have 25 municipalities in Pennsylvania and Newcastle County in Delaware because of the conservation and recreation planning component, and we're trying to connect communities up and down the Brandywine. It'll be the first water trail in this part of Pennsylvania and Delaware, and we've been able to shepherd this project because of the unique combination of the Conservancy with conservation, stewardship, and municipal services. Here's something that's near and dear to home, the Bennett's Run Watershed Conservation Plan, and I could talk a little bit more about it if you have any questions at the end. The plan will engage and inspire watershed residents and local stakeholders to ensure that Bennett's Run will continue to act as a valued and exceptional natural resource for future generations. Rob Daniels is your contact. We are just getting started on this. We're sending engagement letters to municipalities and others within the watershed. There will be a study committee and vast outreach to people living in the watershed. So again, several of you have my contact information if you would like more, and this is just the outline of the watershed. One of our primary programs has been in the Honeybrook because that is the headwaters of the Brandywine, and we actually have serious interest by the city of Wilmington for many years because this is, of course, drinking water up and down the Brandywine. And this started because a Honeybrook supervisor, in talking about what an open space program could be, said that our Amish are our open space program. So as you see in the bottom right, since 2004, Honeybrook Township has gone from 6% protected to over 31%. I'm going to start going a little bit quicker here because I think I'm running out of time. We started connecting services in Honeybrook through municipal planning, and then we've done over 200 best management practices on farms. I'm going to go through these slides very quickly. They're an example of our municipal outreach. We have some very experienced planners within the Conservancy helping municipalities all the time on open space plans, comprehensive plans, recreation plans, natural resource plans, and we're also looking at other services now having to do with climate resiliency and how we can help plan as our climate changes, and municipal services will likely change along with it. So a little bit of focus again on the King Ranch. Since this is being recorded, that's really grand, so you can see these stats at a different time. Again, the Radnor-Willistown area, beautiful Waterloo Mills, that's what you're looking at there. The Radnor Races for over 40 years has it is the race for open space to benefit the Brandywine Conservancy. Didn't happen this year, of course, as many things didn't happen this year. It was the first time in its history. You'll see some of our activities. Bike the Brandywine is our signature bike run to highlight our conserved lands. We're trying to figure out if we can do it online this year. I guess there's several apps to do that, so we're going to give it a try. Upper right, we're planting a rain garden in Honeybrook. Bottom left, a tree planting, and bottom right, a riparian buffer best management practice in Honeybrook. A lot of it to keep cattle and others out of the water. Upper left is one of our stakeholder meetings. Upper right, entertaining children on an educational escapade in the Laurels. The bottom left is the trout stocking with the Amish in Honeybrook. They do not want to be photographed, and this is one of the methods that we will use that is okay by the community. And the bottom right is bird watching in Waterloo Mills. So the Conservancy has a real opportunity to have a bigger impact, and we are strategically planning as such to be more effective than we already are through our unique suite of expertise and approaches. And again, I find this to be a beautiful quote by John Muir: "Everybody needs beauty as well as bread, places to play in and pray in, where nature may heal, and cheer and give strength to body and soul alike. So this is my contact information, and if you would like some more information about Brandywine, just visit us at brandywine.org. Thank you, and I hope I kept to my time.
Thanks, Ellen. Great job. And we got time for a few questions. Go ahead and put them in on the chat room. Question for you, Ellen. What's the advantage for a homeowner to put their land into the preservation program?
Sure. So the various ways to either donate or in some cases we would purchase the easement or purchase the development rights on the property. The main advantage to a homeowner, and the main thing that you will hear from people who have donated their lands, is their land is special to them and to their families, so they get the assurance of knowing that as it is to them and beloved by them now, will be in perpetuity.
And Rotaries, the network of Rotary clubs throughout the region. Is there a way to form some kind of partnership with your organization?
Sure. We have a lot of volunteer activities, both at the Conservancy and the museum. Obviously, we're hampered right now. We're trying to figure out, can we move forward with some volunteer activities, both in the community with maybe tree planting, some things that are preserves, or even on the campus. That discussion is happening now. But what I highlighted there with regard to Bennett's Run, I actually asked my staff if anybody is interested, because some of you may actually live or work within the watershed. If you don't mind, I'll take a few minutes to talk about that one, the watershed plan. Again, it's in its infancy, it's getting up and running, but some ways to help with that. For those of you who live in the watershed, you should keep a lookout for and plan to participate in the Watershed Landowner Survey, to be released online this summer by the Conservancy to help guide the watershed conservation planning efforts. And all watershed landowners will be informed of the survey availability and completion date. And we will also have a public meeting in the spring of 2021. So there's a lot of activities happening in the upcoming in the watershed as time goes on. And again, we can provide you more information via Rob Daniels.
And you mentioned the Greenway, and when it's all completed, what would be the length of when you have everything connected?
Now, that's a good question, and I don't know. I can't answer that. I have a problem holding numbers in my head. I can get that information to you.
Sure.
As if any of you work on trails, you know that you start planning these things, and with the hope that someday they'll all be connected. But I would direct you to our Brandywine Creek Greenway app. It's amazing how many places there are to go right near you, and it will find out where you are and where you can go that's close to you that you may not know about. So this helps all the municipalities and all the entities along the way that are putting together these public places and public trails, and hopefully you have more to enjoy.
So what you're saying is there's an app out there that you can, almost like Trails Near Me, and it'll pop up in that area.
Correct.
That's great. That's great. Well, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Longwood, we'd love to thank you for joining us. Great presentation. And if someone wants to learn a lot more about it, where can they go?
My email is eferretti@brandywine.org. I'll be happy to direct your questions to our appropriate staff. And again, if you have any questions about the Bennett's Run watershed, it's Rob Daniels, and his email was popped up on the screen.
Sure.
So thank you very, very much. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work. We love hearing all about it. We see how it's grown over the decades. It's great as we all live amongst it. It's great for all the work you're doing.
Well, I'll tell you, I've worked in pretty much every county in Pennsylvania. I've never, from a conservation effort, seen anything like Chester County. Top to bottom, soup to nuts. You've planned it, you've done it right. Even the King Ranch, when that was being planned, the way I understand, nobody was paying attention to anything south of Westchester. You've got gorgeous scenic vistas and beauty for all.
Driving the King Ranch at sunset is like unbelievable experience. I try to do it as much as I can. All righty, well, thank you, Ellen. And I'd like to go, we've got a visitor this morning, Michael Benjamin. Michael, you'd like to say a couple words?
Everything's good. Just taking it easy, chilling, watching sports on TV.
What sports? What sports you watching? Give me that channel. I need it.
ESPN.
All right. Hopefully we'll have a little more in the near future. Thanks for joining us again, Michael.
Thank you very much.
See you there. Come back
Enjoying the meeting.
A couple of updates on some of our members. Dork Cohn had heart surgery. He's doing well, up and about. So we've checked in on him. And Mike Moyer, I think you are on this morning. I thought I saw you. Michael, are you on?
Yeah, so third chemo yesterday. Still no side effects, but I get the zoomies about 4:30. They come in, draw blood, make me go to the bathroom and stand on a scale and get vitals and then say go back to bed. I said, well, that's not happening. So had a midnight chicken pot pie, and 4:30 this morning I hit the pantry and got a meatloaf and raisin bran, and I've been up since and waiting for the meeting to start. So got a little mullet going here.
Yeah.
Because I can't cut the back and my hair's not falling out yet. So absolutely no side effects. Been blessed.
Great.
And today I'll probably go for a 30-minute walk before breakfast and maybe skip around a little bit just to mess with them. Because I think they thought the third one would finally hit me. So, but everything's gone since May 23rd and 2 in the morning when I got that kick in the groin with that diagnosis that came out of the blue because my blood work the week before did not indicate anything that had the word leukemia in it. And ever since then, everything has gone in my favor. And I just consider myself blessed and thankful for all my Rotary friends reaching out. And I got all my State Farm friends, my high school friends, grew up in a small town where people are friends for their entire life. And they help you out, and just really blessed. And I thank you.
Well, Mike, thanks for checking in. Good to see your face, and just blessings and prayers continued for your continued treatments.
Oh, and one other thing here, in case I have to leave, I'm going to do a quick, I don't usually do happy dollars, but obviously since everything's gone my way, I figure I better get some happy dollars. And then my daughter is actually graduating June 12th, and she's the class speaker. So I'm very proud of her. So I got $100 going towards the happy dollars today.
Awesome.
And at any time they might come in and say, get off the meeting, we got things for you to do.
Okay, appreciate that. Awesome. And a good segue for me to go into happy dollars. Who has some happy dollars this morning?
This was a fantastic meeting, and I loved every minute of it, except maybe my part. But last week I won the raffle for the car detail, and I don't need a car detail, so I would like to donate that back to anyone who would like a car detail that maybe would want to make a few bucks for the club. I don't know, a normal car detail these days probably goes for at least $100 and a quarter, $150. I don't know how much they charge for details, but maybe somebody would like a detail and just raise some money for the club. And I would like to donate also happy dollars, since we haven't had it for a while. I'd like to donate $50 to the club for Doak Khan and Mike Moyer and everyone else that I haven't been able to see. We hope that we can get back to the beautiful Longwood Gardens in the near future. So, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Barry. And just a clarification on that. I think a lot of people have the misperception that once Longwood Gardens opens, that we can begin to meet again, and those are separate decisions. The gardens may open, but if the governor has limited gatherings to a certain number, that may still keep us from meeting. So just one doesn't equal the other. There's really two separate decisions that have to come into us getting back together in person. Any other happy dollars?
Bob, it's Vicki.
Vicki?
I will do 50 happy dollars. My grandson Jacob graduated from Archmere. Well, if you call it a graduation. He'll be going to Virginia Tech in the fall.
Yeah, Hokies, go Hokies! Sorry.
Yeah, Hokies. And he has decided to go into the cadet program for the Navy at Virginia Tech with the hope to get an ROTC scholarship the following year. So we're really proud of Jacob, and so I'll be contributing $50.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
This is Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Our grandson graduated from West Town, and he was one of the graduation speakers there, and we're really proud of him. And his college choices, he had a few choices, but part of it was from where he wants to go, where he feels safe going. He was accepted at NYU, and he said, I don't really want to go to New York right now. So he's going to American in DC, and we're really proud of him.
Very good, thank you. Anyone else?
Hey everyone, Sparky here. Hopefully you can hear me.
Sparky.
Hey, we're excited. Our baby girl Lydia, next Thursday, she turns 18. She graduated from high school last week, and she is headed off to hang with her brother at Elizabethtown in the fall. We are so excited. And I will donate 25 happy dollars today. And it's great seeing everyone's smiling face.
Okay, thank you. More happy dollars? Next week, our speaker is going to be Dr. Robert
Porter.
Porter, okay. Robert Porter, he's the editor of the Merck Manual, and that should be very interesting to see how all that's going to be put together. And right now, we're going to do a drawing for our detailed car for this week, and I've got my number in mind. I just have to get back to the list, and it's going to be Al Ayacoca. Al, you have won a detailing, and we'll get Greg Trevaro will be doing it, and we'll have him get you in contact with you. Congratulations.
I will defer, and you can choose someone else. How about that?
Okay, we'll get we'll work that into next week's meeting then. So if you want to stay on to this Zoom meeting for socialization, that continue to hang on there. The board is going to be jumping off to another Zoom meeting for our board meeting. I'd like to again thanks Dave Harridan for putting this all together. He actually did a remote from outside his home location, so that worked out pretty well, David. And we're going to conclude today with a four-way test, a very special one for me, of the things we think, do, and say. And these are two of my grandchildren, all the way from Arizona, Benjamin 6 and Piper 4. We'll see you next week.
The truth. Is it fair for all concerned? Will it bring goodwill and better friendships? Is it beneficial to all concerned?